right now you're standing on the main pedestrian bridge to get from the park proper onto our Infinity Falls realm. So this is going to be where all the guests are going to be hanging out because there's so many cool views here. So directly behind me is our whitewater supply. That's our new retail gift shop that will be opening very soon. We're getting that stocked right now. That should be opening up prior to the attraction opening. So that's a good preview of the types of merchandise and the experience that guests will have on the ride itself. So guests will be able to walk through in front of the whitewater supply, and you can see on either side here we've got these totems that are flanking either side of the pathway. The influence there, we can see it looks like a macaw on the left side over here. On the opposite side, there's a snake. And on this element here, we've got some tree frogs and sloths as well. So those will be great backdrops for our ambassadors to be able to come out here. They'll bring them out periodically, and guests will be able to interact, learn more about them, and have those great elements which you can only find at a park kind of like SeaWorld. So as you walk further towards the bridge, you can see where all the action happens with this attraction. The main entrance is directly in front of me. You can see where right in very front is our new waterway grill. We'll have a new entry icon main sign up there, and that'll show where the big entrance is to that facility. It's going to be very popular, obviously, because we've got not only a great menu, but it's air conditioned. We know that's very much a premium during the summer months. The entry to the ride itself, you can see that large rockwork structure on the left. There's a little bit of influence on there from the Infinity Falls logo. So if everyone kind of looks at everyone's hard hat, you can see those vertical stripes going down there to create the I and the F. You can see that influence inside that rockwork. It'll have water cascading down, say Infinity Falls on it. So that would be a great way to enter the attraction. Guests will walk towards the left. They'll cross this blue bridge. So all the guests in the quick queue and the main queue will cross over there, so they'll be able to see the river rapids ride underneath them. Then there's a meandering queue through that island, and it is actually an island that we created over there because the ride circles the entire queue space. That large ficus tree I was mentioning, that's the one in the center over there, so you can see how big that is. That was not here before when we started, so we relocated that. We also have some other landscaping that we're placing in there. And as guests are waiting through the queue, this is where they'll find about the messaging for the explorers. They'll see the people who are here. We've got some really cool props. Looks very much like a base camp setting. Once you exit the queue, you get onto the main station. You exit the station heading south towards the flamingo habitat. Then you'll make your way towards the left over here. And if you look over the bridge on the left side here, that's where the first section of rapids is exiting. So you can see those serpentine curves back and forth. And if you look very closely, you can see that the floor of the trough is not flat. And that's by design. To be able to create some motion on the floor creates a much more dynamic hydraulic experience for the guests. And we specifically chose these rafts, which are a little bit smaller than other rafts that you've seen. They're only 8-passenger rafts instead of like 12 or even bigger rafts. And that allows the ride experience to be very dynamic. It's going to have a lot of motion back and forth, which equals a lot of fun for our guests. So as guests exit this first section of rapids, they'll duck at the last minute underneath this croc head. If you look on this side, this crocodile reptilian looking rockwork, you'll dive right between the teeth, which will be pretty cool. You'll go underneath the pedestrian bridge. This is our large waterfall element. So Janelle mentioned earlier, we've got 3 waterfalls cascading. We call it Prism Falls. It's going to be really pretty. We've already done some tests on it. It's going to look really cool. Guests will, on the ride, will wrap around, and then they'll go up the incline lift. So you can see that horizontal lift that kind of goes from the bottom towards the right, up towards the left. And you can see those mini totem elements, those blue structures. So those are influenced by the main entry icon that's going to be installed here shortly around the vertical lift. Inside those is speakers, they've got water jets, everything's going to be splashing above you, just lots of craziness as you're going up that incline lift. Once you get to the top, you'll have a second set of crazy rapids run, wrapping around towards the vertical lift. You guys all saw the back side of the vertical lift. What you don't see, which you saw earlier, is that you don't know where the raft's coming from, and all of a sudden you'll just see that raft pop up on the top of that drop and then shoot down 40 feet, world's tallest drop for River Rapids ride. Big splash moment underneath the bridge, and then taking them back into the station. So over 5-minute ride experience. It's going to be really thrilling, a lot of fun from beginning to end. We're also pretty happy about the fact that it's going to be family friendly. with these types of attractions, with a circle, everybody's looking at each other, right? And one of the best parts and most fun parts about it is everybody being able to see each other get wet and smiling and having a good time. So having your friends and family on board makes the experience even that much better. Other elements that we're going to have, you've got to have ride photo, right? So you can see these black poles will have a photo capture element as well. So as you're dropping down the big drop, everybody will be screaming, get your photo. And then we also have lockers available for guests who don't want to get all of their elements wet, as you can imagine. And we also have Haystack Dryers. So after you get off the ride, you'll be able to get in one of those Haystack Dryers and dry off. On this bridge as well, we also have water geysers, so you'll be able to put a quarter in or whatever the cost is and get everyone else. If they're not wet enough on the ride, put some money in and splash them yourself. So it's always a lot of fun element for these types of attractions.